Hola, buen día.
Hola! Welcome back to our channel, guys. We are MJ and Seven, and today we are diving into the sweet, crunchy, and surprisingly dramatic history of Spain's most famous biscuit, the Filipinos.
We're going to give you the history, we're going to talk about the controversy, and of course, we're going to eat one of them. And we're going to try to answer, bakit nga ba siya tinawag na Filipinos?
If you've spent any amount of time wandering the snack aisle of a Spanish supermercado, you've undoubtedly seen them. Wrapped in shiny foil packaging, these ring-shaped chocolate-covered biscuits are an absolute staple of the Spanish merienda or afternoon snack. They are called Filipinos, and they are Spain's best-selling ring-shaped biscuit. But beyond their mega crunchy texture and real chocolate coatings lies a fascinating history and a massive international diplomatic controversy. Pwede naman kumain.
Meron siyang white,
Favorite ko yung white.
favorite?
Chocolate blanco.
meron din siyang dark chocolate, and this one is, what's this?
Real milk.
Milk chocolate. Speculoos flavor. Speculoos flavor, meron siyang kulay blue, which is, I think this is the original flavor. Authentic chocolate con leche. And then, another one is,
Salted caramel.
and, mabibili mo siya usually sa supermarket ng Spain. Pero, as far as we know, wala siya sa Mercadona.
Yes. We've been trying to look for them sa Mercadona pero wala. Meron sa Carrefour. Yeah, Hypercore.
The first time na dumating kami dito, nakita namin to sa McDo. And akala namin, name talaga siya after sa Filipinos. After us. Pero hindi.
Yung feeling na nakakakilig pa, oh my God, really? Filipinos? What makes Filipinos biscuit? At its core, a Filipinos is a mega thin and mega crunchy ring of cocoa-infused dough, completely enrolled in real chocolate. Over the decades, the lineups has expanded massively. The classics: dark chocolate, yun yung original; white chocolate, yun yung popular and my favorite; and milk chocolate. Other flavors are salted caramel, red berries, and speculoos. Artiyak frequently partners with other massive brands mixed into McDonald's McFlurry, which is natikman na namin yon, Burger King's King Fusions, Danone's Danet Custard, and even special Dinosaurus cookie mashups.
To understand Filipinos, we have to look at the company that created them. Artiyak. Founded in 1907 by brothers Gerardo and Gabriel Artiyak Astigue. We're not sure if tama yung pronunciation namin. The company opened its first oven and biscuit shop in the heart of Bilbao, right in the Ribera de Diusto. The brothers were pioneers in the European biscuit industry. In fact, the 1921 factory in Diusto was the very first building in Spain designed and constructed exclusively for manufacturing biscuits. By the 1980s, after outgrowing their original space and surviving severe floods, the factory moved to the neighboring town of Orozco, where Filipinos and the other iconic Spanish biscuits like Chiquilin and Marbu Dorada are still big today. In 2012, the Artiyak brand became part of the Adam Foods International Group.
So bakit nga ba tinawag siya na Filipinos? The exact origin of the name is heavily debated. Some food historians and locals believe it was simply a geographical naming convention common in European pastries like the Napolitan. Favorite din niya yun. while others suggest the biscuits were directly inspired by traditional ring-shaped rosquillos from Iloilo in the Philippines, which Artiac then covered in chocolate.
However, the name sparked a massive international incident. In August 1999, the government of the Philippines filed a formal diplomatic protest against the Spanish government, the European Commission, and the snacks manufacturer at the time, Nabisco Iberia.
The resolution's author, former Filipino Congressman Gerson Alvarez, claimed the name was deeply offensive and a racial slur, arguing that the biscuit being dark outside and white inside was a mocking reference to the Filipino people and their colonial history. Then President Joseph Estrada publicly backed the protests, calling the brand name an insult. The Philippine government demanded the snack to be pulled from shelves until the name was changed.
Despite the intense diplomatic pressure, the manufacturer argued that the biscuits had been sold in Spain for over 40 years under that name with zero malicious intent. Ultimately, the protest lost momentum, the name was never changed, and Filipinos remain on Spanish supermarket shelves to this day. Okay, habang kumakain kami ng Pilipinas, nag-research kami so that malaman namin saan ba nanggaling tong Filipinos na term. Alimay na ako na yung tinawag tayong Filipinos o yung biscuit.
Kailan na ba tayo ginawag na Filipinos?
So let's review our history. So when Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the archipelago in 1521, he originally named the islands of San Lazaro.
Akala ko talaga siya yung nagpangalan sa atin ng Pilipinas, no?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hindi pala.
So it wasn't until a couple of decades later that the modern name was born. So the first naming was way back 1543. So ang nagpangalan daw sa atin ay si
Spanish explorer Ruy Lopez de Villalobos via his Captain Bernardo de la Torre. So when they arrived in the Visayas region, he named the islands of Samar and Leyte Las Islas Filipinas in honor of Prince Philip of Asturias, who would later become King Philip II of Spain.
So, alam niyo na, Asturias. I think that's one of the reason kaya this Asturias, kapag nalalaman nilang Pilipino kami, meron silang pan at pangatawag na lagi sa atin, hermano.
Ay, makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. And then, the year is 1565. Spanish conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi applied the name Las Filipinas to the entire archipelago, establishing it as the official name of the Spanish colony. Pero, alam niyo ba na hindi kahit may pangalan na tayong Las Isla or Las Filipinas, hindi pa rin tayo tinatawag na Filipino.
Even though the country was named in 1543, the native inhabitants were not called Filipinos. We are not called Filipinos back then. Under the strict colonial caste system of the Spanish Empire, the native indigenous population was referred to generically as Indios. So, who were the original Filipinos? Sino nga ba? Oh, we are Indios. If we are Indios, who are the original Filipino?
So for over 300 years, the term Filipino was strictly reserved for full-blooded Spaniard who were born in the Philippines. Hindi po tayo yung unang Pilipino na tinawag, kundi yung mga Spaniards na pinanganak sa Pilipinas. They were also known as Insulares or Creoles. The Spanish government used the term to differentiate from the Peninsulares and later moved to the colony. Sila yung mga Espanyol na pinanganak here in Spain pero nagpunta ng Pilipinas. If you were an indigenous person, calling yourself a Filipino was socially and politically unacceptable. So, hindi tayo unang tinawag na Filipino.
We are
Indios.
So tama pala talaga yung sa movie, no? Mga Indio. It's not like we were mocked. Yun talaga yung tawag sa atin. O Indios.
Yun yung sinakap ng government. Way back.
Yeah. Everything changed in the late 19th century with the rise of the Ilustrados, an educated middle class of natives and mestizos who began studying in Europe and absorbing liberal nationalist ideas. They decided to reclaim the word. In 1860s, Father Jose Burgos, a Spanish-Filipino mestizo priest, wrote a manifesto defending the rights of local priests. He explicitly used the word Filipino to refer not just to Spaniards born there, but to a united group of natives, Chinese mestizos and Spanish mestizos.
1879, the national hero Jose Rizal wrote his famous poem A la Juventud Filipina to the Filipino youth by urging the native youth to use their talents for their fatherland. He solidified the idea that the native people were the true Filipinos.
When the Philippine Revolution and the Spanish-American War broke out in 1898, the Spanish were expelled from the archipelago. With the colonial caste system shattered, the term Filipino officially shifted. It lost its meaning as a marker of Spanish blood and was permanently adopted as the national identity for all indigenous and native inhabitants of the islands.
So during that time, basically dun pa lang talaga naging officially na tinawag tayo.
Filipino, 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 Filipino.
1898.
I mean, after ng war. Based sa history, tingnan natin kung alin may nauna. Yung term na Filipinos, which is yung tinawag sa atin bilang mga Pilipino, or yung pangalan ng Biscuit. 1543, yun yung time na tinawag ang Leyte and Samar na Las Islas Filipinas. Of course, to honor Prince Philip of Asturias. Then later on, tinawag na yung buong Pilipinas as Las Filipinas.
And in 1898, following the Philippine Revolution and the end of the Spanish-American War, the colonial caste system collapses. The native inhabitants permanently reclaimed the word Filipino as their national identity.
That's 1898. And then, as you can remember, RTAC, the name of the company, founded by the two brothers, was in 1907. And then, parang 1907, sa Bilbao, Spain, pinound nila yung company na RTAC. And then yung Biscuit mismo is nilaunch noong 1950. So basically, meron ng word na Filipinos before pa na-invento yung Biscuit, right?
Yeah.
While RTAC has never published the exact year the brand was launched, during the 1999 diplomatic protests, the manufacturer stated that the Filipino biscuit has been sold in the Spanish market for over 40 years. So, this places the creation of the chocolate cover ring around the mid-1950s. Maybe around 1950 to 1970.
Over 400 years after the country was named and about 40 years after the biscuit was created, the two timelines collide. The Philippine government formally protests the name of the biscuit, arguing that naming a dark chocolate-covered snack after the Filipino people is an offensive racial slur.
Paano yung content?
Hindi, may sinasabi nila, dark on the inside and white on the outside.
Ano?
Yeah. Bakit hindi ito masarap?
Hindi, itong flavor na ito hindi naman dark.
Kasi hindi naman yun yung original na flavor. So wala talaga. Wala talagang final reason kung bakit Filipinos ang pangalan nito. No? Wala ang final reasons.
So basically, kahit nagkaroon ng protest or something, wala pa rin sila nagawa. And wala pa rin makapagsabi kung saan nanggaling yung word, yung term ng Filipinos biscuit. So parang siguro nakakaalam lang nito yung founder ng RDAC, yung dalawang magkapatid. Actually, nag-email na din ako sa RTAC, nag-message ako sa kanila kung baka alam nila. I mean, baka pwede nilang i-share yung list talaga ng pangalan ng Filipinos. Kasi, curious talaga kami. Curious kami, pero masarap naman siya eh. I mean, we're not after that controversy or something. Gusto lang talaga yung malaman saan nanggaling yung word na Filipinos. Galing ba talaga siya sa mga Pilipino? Or may ibang pinanggalingan siya? May ibang origin?
And as Filipinos ourselves, you don't feel offended naman.
Yeah, I mean, parang ano pa eh.
Good pa kami.
Proud na kami eh. Kasi may Filipino biscuit name after us. Yung pa yung assume namin.
We're not all really offended. Yeah, happy birthday white. Quite so on it.
Anyway, if you know the history or the origin of this Filipino biscuit, just know, we are still waiting din sa reply ng RTIA kung mag-reply sila. And maybe magtatanong din kami sa mga locals here kung alam nila yung history talaga nito. And then, maybe we'll create a follow-up video about it.
Controversy aside, it's hard to overstate how ingrained these are in Spanish daily life.
I think nakita ko pa sa website nila meron silang flat style. Like, Pino-Pino ata yung tawag ka.
Pino-Pino. Wow. Sounds like Pino-Pino pa din, no? It's honestly a testament to how good the recipe is. They've survived floods at their original factory in Bilbao, buyouts by massive corporations and international government protests.
And they still taste perfectly with a cup of coffee. Though wala kaming coffee na yun.
So kayo guys, offended ba kayo? Or gusto niyo matikman yung Filipinos biscuit? So we want to hear from you guys. Have you tried a Filipino biscuit?
And if you are from the Philippines, what do you think about the name? Are you offended or do you just want to try the cookie? Let us know down in the comments.
White chocolate for the win. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Spanish snack history, please give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you guys.
Don't forget to subscribe to follow our life here in Spain, and we'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego!
Ubus na pala ba siya? Hanggang dinner pa ba tayo?